For more information on our top stories and others, please visit our website, channelstv.com. youtube.com/channelsweb has videos of our shows. Subscribe and watch Channels Television's live stream on YouTube and other social media platforms using your mobile device browser, or download the Channels TV app for Android and iOS devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature, which you can use to share pictures, videos, and news of happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. So we have some of the pictures that you sent in. Let's begin with this one. It shows the deplorable state of a road in Ikwano community in Abia State. Eyewitness reporter says it is a federal road that links Akwa Ibom, Cross River, and River States. He's calling on the federal government to intervene. Next is this image from Oride Igomu on Okpeloyeru Street, Lagos State, showing a flooded area, which our eyewitness reporter says is as a result of an abandoned drainage project. He's asking the state government to complete the project. Our final photo tonight shows an accident scene at the UNILAG waterfront in Ward Adekunle on 3rd Mainland Bridge. According to eyewitness reporter, Lasema officials have already attended to the casualties, but is asking road users to be more careful. Thank you for sending in those reports, and we look forward to telling your stories of happenings around you. The 8th Assembly will hold its last round of activities with a special valedictory session at the National Assembly Complex, Abuja, tomorrow. Nigeria operates a bicameral legislature with both chambers, that is, the Senate and the House of Representatives, forming the legislative arm of government. Tomorrow's session will mark the end of the 8th Assembly, which was inaugurated on June 9, 2015, and also pave way for the inauguration of the 9th National Assembly. The 9th National Assembly will, however, be inaugurated on June 11th, and on that day, new leaders on both chambers are expected to emerge. A few days into President Muhammadu Buhari's second term, many Nigerians expect that the president will hit the ground running to address the nation's challenges. Thought leaders are setting an agenda for the president and also preferring solutions to some of the problems. Our correspondent, Dari Idowu, reports.
Defend the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Sworn in for his second term as a democratically elected president, he already has a lot on his plate. Most he's familiar with:
Muhammadu Buhari,
an economy to fix, a security challenge to address, and other aspects of the Nigerian life begging for attention. These alumni of Cambridge, Oxford, Harvard, and their friends are gathered in this room to debate and provide solutions to some of the problems confronting the country. They say that's the least they could do to help.
what PMB should do differently in the second term. However, I approach the topic from an entirely different perspective. I think it is limiting to pose the question in this way. I think the real issue is what we as a nation should be doing differently. As it is, there is the implicit view that it is the actions of the federal government alone that matter for national development. I tend to disagree.
Then the conversation moves to one of the most debated topics in Nigerian politics.
The strategy of fighting corruption is skewed. It's not going to work unless the economy improves. You cannot hold the economy to ransom in the fight against corruption. I'm not saying fighting corruption is wrong. You should fight corruption. But I think there should be a systematic way. You have to make sure that you reflect the economy and then let the corruption fight, let the system fight the corruption.
The Nigerian elite is generally vacuous and absent from leadership. They're vacuous in the way they think about organizing their society. Maybe I shouldn't be the one to speak about corruption, but anybody in this room would be perfectly capable of doing so, because it seems that the national religion is indeed corruption. And we may laugh about it and we may giggle, but the fact is that almost everybody in this room who considers themselves elite benefits from the spores of corruption. In countries where you want to confront corruption, you have to recognize those who are the priests of corruption. And in many of the countries, it's the elite, and you have to target them. If you look at top...
The views on this table are diverse, but there is a consensus on the need for integrity, inclusiveness, and clear-cut policies to strengthen efforts at building a stable nation.
Without security, there's nothing happening. I mean, there will be no meaningful development. We've come to a stage where, we've seen new kids on the block who are more savage and violent. And so for us, what we would like to see immediately, a very objective process in the selection of service chiefs.
We're looking for how can we contribute. We think about all of the issues that need to be addressed in Nigeria today, and we would like to share them with government. So we all come into a room like this, we all discuss, argue, debate, and then when we come to some conclusions, we're going to amass all of them, and then we'll share them with the government.
The organizers say the conversation will continue with the intention to set the agenda for the government and also help in formulating a framework that works. Daredu, Channels Television News.
Let's get more news now from our Abuja studios. Here's Ibrahim Adra. Hi, Ibrahim.
Hello, Marathi. It's World Environment Day, and we now know that 9 out of 10 people on the planet now breathe polluted air. That is the worrisome assessment by the United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres as the world marks the day. According to the UN, approximately 7 million people worldwide die prematurely each year from air pollution, with about 4 million of these deaths occurring in Asia Pacific, a likely reason that China was picked as host for this year. In his message to mark the day, the UN scribe called for coordinated action from all to stem the trend, which he attributed to human activities. World Environment Day is marked to urge governments, industries, communities and individuals to explore renewable energy and green technologies that will improve air quality in cities and regions across the world. Now, as part of efforts to mark the World Environment Day, the Abuja Environmental Protection Board embarked on a sensitization exercise on better work practices at the Abuja. A theme for this year's World Environment Day revolves around tackling air pollution and seeks to combat practices such as using tires to burn animals, which make the air we breathe and meat we eat unsafe. Our correspondent Kayla Megwa has more.
June the 5th every year is celebrated in over 100 countries as World Environment Day. This year, the theme tackles air pollution, a situation where harmful substances are introduced into the Earth's atmosphere, causing diseases, allergies, and death to all life forms. According to the World Health Organization, air pollution has caused the death of about 7 million people every year. Studies in March of 2019 say that figure has risen to 8.8 million deaths yearly. One of the air pollutants in Nigeria is cigarettes, and these group of protesters are calling for more regulation.
Smoking causes a lot of harm on the environment as a result of a process called wood curing. Before you can produce tobacco, before it's taken to the factory, they harvest the leaves and they put it in a barn and they cut tons and tons of wood. Cutting those wood contributes to the climate change problem. All right? There's also what we call the environmental tobacco smoke. When you smoke, you ingest that smoke into the atmosphere. A passerby who is a non-smoker, is at the risk of the same disease as a smoker.
Human activity plays a key role in air pollution. Refuse heaps such as this one is a common sight around the country. This dump at the Karu axis of Abuja has rendered the air here unbreathable, affecting commuters and business owners in this area. As we get to the abattoir in Karu, the air is rife with a foul stench as we walk literally on cow manure to the slaughterhouse. At the sight of our cameras, the management of the abattoir begin a frantic attempt to clean up the slaughterhouse. As the environmental board arrives at the abattoir, we are finally granted access into the slaughterhouse to assess the state of the facilities.
we have discovered that in most of our abattoirs, people that operate, the operators ignorantly, create a lot of emissions through burnings. And some, they use tires, to burn meat that will be consumed by human beings. And we feel that this is actually unhygienic. So we decided that we should come over here, use it as a showcase, and point out these areas where these forms of burning can be dangerous to human health, and try to sensitize the people, the operators, against such practices.
With no protective gear on, these meat burners carry out their business at the Karu Abattoir in the most unsanitary of environments. We observed them burning meat with tires, a practice which has necessitated the shutdown of many abattoirs because of the health threats the toxic materials in tires pose to the meat, the humans who eat it, and the soil where the scrap soot is deposited. The sanitary conditions here at the Karu Abattoir have very little to write home about. The Abuja Environmental Protection Board say they are using 2019's edition of World Environmental Day, which tackles air pollution, to bring some sanity to the Karu Abattoir and ensure safety of the lives of the people who work here and those who live in these premises. Kayla Megwa, Channels Television News.